consumer may not have the time to go to the producer himself, oh, wants to travel down, no, but the retailer is very close to you. You can always get things, your goods from them. Then they provide jobs for many people at different grades. People get employed by the retailers who sell the goods to the consumers. Then they pass information from the consumers to the wholesaler. You know, they can always get feedback from the consumers and relate it to the wholesaler, who will in turn relate to the producers. Then they give credit to some consumers. Or, you know, consumers buy in pieces, they don't buy in bulk, they buy in bits. So they can give credit for a few days or a few hours to the consumers before the person brings money. Then the disadvantages of retailers: they still create artificial scarcity of goods by hoarding it, they inflate prices, and they can even suffer losses. They suffer losses due to pilfering and decay of perishable goods. For instance, a retailer gets tomatoes from through the wholesaler. You know, it has passed through, and tomato is a very perishable good. If you are not careful, in a matter of days, 2-3 days, it's gone. So, and the retailer may not sell at a very fast rate. Most times it takes days because it sells in bits. So the losses that occur through the perishability of those goods is his own. He incurs the losses. So that's a disadvantage on the part of the retailer. So what are the marketing functions? First, researching. The research, okay, when this is the need of the consumer, okay, how can the producer help to get this? So they perform a research function. Then the next is that they buy from the producer and then sell to the consumer or to the other agents in the channel of marketing. Then product development and management. They can develop produce. You know, some produce are not sold directly to the consumer. Some have to go through the industry. So they also are in charge of that. They can get goods from the farmer, then take to the industry before it is being passed across to the consumers. Then production is also part of the function of marketing. Goods are produced before they get to the consumers. Then standardization and grading. The goods are standardized. Okay, this produce has to go through this standard. It has to meet this standard. Okay, there should be this particular ingredient in this thing. This should not be there. Okay, this is safe for consumption. This is not safe. So they assess the produce before it gets to the consumer. Then pricing, they determine the price. Okay, this particular good will be sold for this price. This is the minimum price that will be selling this produce. So they determine the price. Then distribution, that's a major function of the marketers. They get the good from the producer and then distribute it across the place for consumers. Then risk bearing, they bear risk, especially from the end of the retailer, especially wholesaler or retailer, because they are the ones that carry the good and it stays with them longer than it stays with the producer after harvesting. Then financing, they give loans to the producer or even sometimes sell on credit to consumers. So they finance the goods. Then after sales service is also a marketing function that the marketing agents perform. Now, marketing of export crops. Export crops are grown in Nigeria, and as maturity they are harvested, processed and packaged for sales to other countries. When you hear exports, you know the goods is being carried out of a particular country into another country. And then in Nigeria, the major export crop we have cocoa, we have cotton, rubber, palm oil, groundnut, palm kernel, sesame seed. We export cashew nut too, cassava, gum arabic, sorghum. Those are export crops that we have in Nigeria, and that's what is bringing money. Those are crops that are bringing money for our nation. The guidelines for exporting crops in Nigeria: commodity farmers. First, you get the farmers that produce that cultivate the produce. They produce or they cultivate the crops. Then the local buying agents goes to buy from them. Let's say the crop we are exporting is cocoa, so the cocoa farmer cultivates the cocoa, tends it till harvest, till maturity, then he harvests it. Then the local buying agent goes to get it from the commodity farmer. Then the commodity merchants buys it from the local buying agents. Then the exporters, the people that now take it out of the country for it to be transported out of the country, the exporters get it, then make sure they, the exporters are advanced compared to the local buying agents. The local buying agent just gets it from the farmer that cultivated it, then sells to the commodity merchants, then it gets to the exporter who transports it to other country. He has connection abroad, he has connection outside the country. The company or individuals he sells those produce to. Then we have the foreign partner. So that's the trend or the guideline by which we export crops in Nigeria. What importance does agricultural development have? First, it gives us foreign exchange earning. Exporting of agricultural crops gives the country foreign earnings, can get revenue from other countries by selling our produce. Then it creates wealth for the farmers. Export crops generate more money than cash crop, that is food crops. When the cocoa farmer will definitely get more money than somebody that is producing, let's say, tomato that is not being exported. Then it generates employment, in between the commodity farmer or the farmer that cultivated the crop and the exporter. We have the local agents, then we have the merchant agents too. So that's career for them. They get their money in that process. So it generates employment. Then it provides raw materials for industry. Cocoa is a raw material. Rubber is a raw material that is used in making other products that are more useful than when it is raw. So we get raw materials. Then there is market for industrial goods. Then the economy can be diversified. That is, the diversification of economy is another importance of exports. Rather than everybody facing oil or wants oil money, we can get a source of revenue from exporting agricultural crops. Then we get finished produce. We have finished products from exporting our crops. Then there is bilateral relationship with the other country. We sell goods to them, we get their money, or we get some other goods from their country. So there is a relationship that exists between the two countries. What are the problems that face agricultural marketing? First is inadequate transportation system. Bad road is a major issue for agriculture. So that's a problem that agricultural marketing is facing. Once the road is bad, it will affect the number of days or hours that goods will reach where it is going. Then it will determine the state in which the farm produce will be, especially when the goods are perishable. Then another problem of agricultural marketing is small scale production. When there is the fund is not enough to make large scale production, and what the farmer can do is just a small scale farming, then it won't produce enough yield. Then another problem facing agricultural marketing is inadequate market infrastructure. Perishability of produce, another carry produce that easily deteriorates. Then the produce will not give as much money as it should. So that's a problem on the part of the farmer, and it will lead to wastage. And wastage of income, wastage of efforts, poor financing. When the farmer does not get enough finances to cultivate, then it won't really make enough sense doing that kind of business. Then inadequate storage facility is another major problem of agriculture. When the produce are produced and it is not properly stored, it just gets wasted, and the effort of the farmer is just lost. So that's another problem. Storage is a big problem. Poor process of produce. When the produce is not properly processed into a state that it can't easily perish, then that's a problem too. Then we have the problems of middlemen. I have highlighted the advantages of the middlemen earlier, that they inflate prices, they urge good unnecessarily. So those are the problems of middlemen. Then difficulty in assembly products, in arranging, in packaging it. before it gets to the final place you are taking it to, the consumer or the country you are transferring it to. Then lack of uniform measures. There is no uniformity in the measures taken to distribute these goods, so that's another problem. Then poor quality produce. When the produce is not of high quality, for instance, maybe pests have infested it, or there is no enough, the land, the soil is faulty, fertilizer is not properly applied, and things like that, so the produce will be of a bad or a lower quality. Then inadequate research. When the research is not thorough on how to improve a particular produce, then the yield will not be the best. Inadequate information. Maybe the farmer, even when there is adequate research now, the farmer doesn't get to know what the information is. Then he doesn't practice it. Then he doesn't